Hello, I'm Zareen Ahmed. I'm the founder and CEO of Gift Wellness Social Enterprise and chair of Period Poverty UK. Safeguarding the dignity and promoting the empowerment of women and girls everywhere is at the heart of everything we do here. For every pack we sell of our Gift Wellness menstrual products, we donate pads to women who can't access or afford them. And we've donated over 6 million so far to homeless and refugee women, food banks and shelters. But there is still so much more to do. We donate period products all over the world, but charity begins at home. So on this International Women's Day, I wanted to share some of my thoughts about the current status of women in Britain and what needs to change and what needs to happen now. It's been a year since the murder of Sarah Everard in London, which sparked widespread debate around the world on the issues of violence against women and women's rights in general. But has all this interest created any change? Do women feel safer now? No. In fact, there remains a dangerous level of sexism towards women. And sadly, the Sarah Everard case was not just an isolated incident of a single bad apple in the police force, because according to the femicide census, since then, 16 more women have lost their lives at the hands of police officers. And for those of you who know me, you know why this is so important to me, because my daughter was also abducted and murdered at the hands of a violent man. That was 14 years ago and nothing has changed, and we as a country should be ashamed of this. You know, there have been 3 million crimes against women in this country in the last 3 years, and they're just the ones that were reported. Surely a nation can be characterized and defined as being civilized or barbaric based on how safe its mothers and sisters and daughters feel. So we have to ask ourselves, what needs to happen to see actual change rather than just talking about this? How do we address the levels of toxicity of some of the very masculine, aggressive and sexualized natures, whether overtly or passively displayed, but displayed with complete impunity, not only in the police, but across virtually every organisation in some form, and across every sector of society? The government had the opportunity to make misogyny a hate crime, and they didn't do it. And women who raise these issues, women like me, are treated with contempt and told to focus on more urgent, more important issues. It's been over 100 years since women got the right to vote. And since then, not much else has changed. It took them 100 years to stop adding tax onto period products, and we're still fighting for equal pay, and women are still living in fear of violence. So, in the context of our period poverty work here at Gift Wellness, when I'm talking about the urgent need to make period products available for free in public places, you know, so that when you give a homeless woman £1, she doesn't have to choose between buying food or buying tampons with it. I'm often looked at as if I've just said something trivial. That's not a priority when there are so many other pressing issues and crimes against humanity that I should be fighting for or fighting against. But what they don't realise is that if men and governments and those in positions of authority are not held to account to provide these most basic human needs, they're actually sabotaging the future success of this country, not to mention their own relationships with the women in their own lives. You know, those critical relationships that hold the fabric of every family, every home and community and wider society together. If anything, the fact that the world is becoming increasingly more unstable and volatile, both politically and geologically, climatically, is precisely the reason why it is so important to focus on reinforcing these values right now, because the linkage between women's empowerment and effectively challenging the problems of today's world, including climate change, is just undeniable. For these reasons, here at Gift Wellness, our priority for this year is to get every local authority in Britain to supply menstrual products for free in all public places. The government took an important step last year by facilitating free menstrual products to schools in Britain. Brilliant, but they failed to make it mandatory. Why? So now only 40% of schools have taken them up on it. Really? So if the head teacher happens to be a bit of a misogynist, a bit old-fashioned, then that's just tough luck for the girls in that school who are suffering from period poverty, isn't it? And while we're on the subject, what about colleges and universities? Look, enough talking, enough excuses about budgets or strategic priorities. There will always be a war or pandemic. We want to see action now, and I don't want to be sitting here the same time next year saying the same thing. So I'm calling on all local authorities and statutory institutions to step up, the way they have in Scotland and in Brent Borough Council, the only one, where homeless women and those on low incomes can now pop into their local library or council house and pick up free products. Once this fundamental thing happens, it will create empathy in our society for women's rights, and hopefully will lead to the next level of rights to be implemented, and so on. In the meantime, we at Gift Wellness, thanks to our amazing customers and supporters, will continue donating pads for every pack we sell, and we will continue donating pads to women in crisis all over the world. So let's work together and let's make this International Women's Day one where we will see real change starting to happen, so that women everywhere can achieve their true potential. Thank you so much for listening.